little girls always say, I'm looking for somebody sensitive, you know, like, and I'm certain somebody with good character, and somebody who's sharing, you know, somebody who is really in touch with their feelings. If she describes her best girlfriend, all right? So if I set her up with a guy like that, what do? They come back. Like, I thought, I didn't tell you I wanted a man, all right? Like, really, but they have this, like, thing in the magazines and what, all right. So you end up with a list. So now people go out on their dates, and it's like a whole thing. How do I know it's the right one? How do I know it's the right one? All right? If I had $1 for every time somebody asked me this, I paid off my mortgage a long time ago. How do I know he's the one or she's the one? So we come up with 3 questions you have to answer yes to in order to know it's the right one. For those of you who are married, if you answer no to one of these, don't leave and turn to your spouse and go, I knew it all along, and Lori just confirmed it, okay? No. Okay, don't do that. For those of you who are married, these are the 3 areas that you have to put a lot of time and energy into your marriage. Okay? These are 3 areas you have to put a lot of effort into. Right? For those of you who are not married, you have to answer yes to all 3. For those of you who are married, this is where you have to put a lot of time and energy. Got it? Okay, here's the 3 questions. It's not in a priority order because you have to answer yes to all 3. Number 1, do you have the same goals? And I don't mean we both want to get married, move to the suburbs, have a 3-car garage, go south once a year, go north once a year, go skiing. No. Meaningful, common life goals. Not just do we want to have children, what values do we want to give our children? Not what our house looks like. What does our house feel like? What do we want to contribute to our community, to our people? My day-to-day goals are very different than my husband's. My husband's a rabbi. He marries people, all right? He has his goals. And I have my day-to-day goals, right? I'm finishing a chapter for my publisher, I'm doing carpool, like I'm teaching. But our meaningful life goals together are the same. They might be actualized in different ways because we're different people. But that's part of the oneness of marriage. It's part of the oneness. I'm an extremely idealistic person, almost to a fault, very idealistic. And I had a very strong drive to want to help the Jewish people. And I remember when I was first dating, and this is just for me, my unique person, okay? This is not putting down anybody here at all, because you're a unique person, and you have to find out what's good for you. So I remember when I was first dating, and sometimes I go out with doctors and lawyers and accountants, and I'm like, it just wasn't for me. I knew I needed somebody who really shared that drive. And again, it might be actualized in different ways, but it's very, very strong. Like I always said, if I married an accountant, what would I say to him at the end of the day? So, honey, everything add up? You know, like, what are we talking about, okay? But for some people, it's the right thing, okay? But for me, I just wouldn't cut it, okay? Because very much what we contribute to the Jewish people, our drive to help the Jewish people, is not just good for the Jewish people, it's good for our marriage. It's good for our marriage. I remember somebody came to me once in Toronto when we were living there, and now we're living in Denver, and so this person came to me, and she, wonderful person, and she was having a terrible time in her marriage. And I said to her, so, marriage is the pursuit of meaningful common life goals. I said, so what are the goals, the meaningful goals that you share with your husband? I said, come on, there must be something. I said, when you were dating, what did you talk about? What did you want to achieve together? She goes, oh, yes. We both wanted to be rich. Okay? And I said, well, that's not really a goal. That's a means to a goal. With wealth, you can help, your community, send your kids to day school. Like, wealth is a means to a goal. It's not a goal within itself. Because these people were rich for a while, and then it fell apart. The real estate development market in Toronto bottomed out, and that was the beginning of the end of their marriage. And I said, come on, there must be something. She goes, oh, yes, we both wanted to help the Jewish people. I go, okay, ding, 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 that's good. I said, there's a home here, it's a senior's home. It's called Baycrest in Toronto. And I said, like, why don't you volunteer there? I said, you could maybe work with the residents, he could be on a fundraising committee or vice versa. I said, that's not just a nice thing for the seniors or for the Jewish community. I said, it'll build your marriage. The more you put into your meaningful life goals that you share together, the greater your marriage will be. And again, don't make your children the most meaningful life goal that you have together. Because you know the empty nest syndrome, again, if that's the only thing you have together and they grow up and they go, we have this whole thing that we tell married people that you have to keep dating your spouse. Once a week you should go on a date. Right? Because remember dating when you're before you're married, right? You go on a date. I don't care what you do, just go shopping at Walmart. But just do something together, all right? So on the date, there's a rule. For the first 15 minutes, you're allowed to talk about the kids. And after that, you're not allowed to talk about the kids. So what do people say to me? Well, then what are we going to talk about? I said, well, before you had those children, you must have talked about something because they didn't exist, all right? So you have to get back again to if your kids are the most important things that you share, when they leave, often people look at each other like, who are you? And that's often the end of their marriage. Because the glue of their marriage were the kids, which is a heavy pressure to put on your children, and don't think they don't feel it in marriages like that. All right? So, meaningful common life goals. Right? The more you put into it, the greater your marriage will be. All right. The second question is, are you physically attracted to each other? The Talmud says you're not allowed to marry somebody unless you're physically attracted to them. This is a very, 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 very important part of a marriage. So people have this misconception that the more religious you are, the less you're into physical intimacy. It's actually the opposite, and not just because we have all the kids. All right? This is